She had spent 3 years planning every detail of her wedding. The flowers, white garden roses, flown in from a farm in Oregon. The venue, a converted barn outside the city that had a 6-month waiting list. The dress, altered 3 times over 14 months until it was exactly right. She had a seating chart in a laminated binder. She had a playlist for every 20-minute window of the reception. She had thought of everything. What she had not thought of, what no one ever does, was the notification that appeared on her phone at 11:47 in the morning, 32 minutes before she was supposed to walk down the aisle. And by the time the ceremony began, she already knew exactly what she was going to do. She and Daniel had been together for almost 5 years when he proposed. They met at a mutual friend's birthday dinner. She was sitting across from him. He spent the entire meal making her laugh, and that was that. He was the kind of person who remembered things. Your coffee order, the name of your difficult coworker, the anniversary of the hard thing that happened to you 3 years ago. People loved him for that. She loved him most of all for it. Her best friend, Karha, had been in her life even longer. They had known each other since university, lived together for 2 years after graduation, been in each other's weddings. Or so she had assumed. Kara was the maid of honor. She had helped pick the dress. She had been there for every engagement party, every planning call, every anxious late-night conversation about centerpieces and catering, and whether the outdoor ceremony would survive a forecast of 60% rain. These were the 2 people she trusted most in the world. There was a trip the 3 of them had taken together the previous summer. A long weekend at a cabin about 2 hours outside the city. She remembered sitting on the porch the last evening, watching Daniel and Kara argue about something trivial, laughing, and thinking how lucky she was that the people she loved most also liked each other. She had a photo from that weekend on her phone. She deleted it later, but she remembered it, which is why, when the message came through, it took her a full 30 seconds to understand what she was reading. She had borrowed Kara's phone charger the night before. They were all staying in the same hotel, the bridal party, an immediate family, a floor rented out for the occasion. She had plugged her phone into Kara's portable charger because hers had died. When the charger buzzed with a new message that morning, she picked it up without thinking. She thought it was her own phone. It was not. The message was from Daniel. It had come into a thread she did not recognize. A thread between Daniel and Kara that stretched back 8 months. She did not read all of it. She did not need to. The message she read said, "Last night was everything. I don't know how we get through today." She put the phone face down on the dresser. She stood completely still for a moment. Then she picked it back up and scrolled. She read slowly. She went back to the beginning of the thread, 8 months ago, almost to the day. She recognized the date immediately. It was the weekend she had visited her mother, alone, because Daniel said he had a work commitment he couldn't move. She remembered feeling guilty for being annoyed about it. She remembered texting Kara from the drive, and Kara saying that's so frustrating. He should have planned better. She had agreed. 8 months. It had been going on for 8 months. There were hotel names she recognized, business trips she remembered Daniel taking. There were dates that lined up with evenings Kara had canceled plans with her, saying she wasn't feeling well. There was one message sent by Kara that read, "She doesn't deserve you. She never did." She set the phone down again. She looked at herself in the mirror, the dress, the flowers woven through her hair. She thought about the last few months and how many things suddenly looked different. The evenings he came home quieter than usual. The way Kara had started declining invitations with vague excuses around the same time the thread started. A birthday dinner 2 months ago where the two of them had barely looked at each other, which she had read at the time as them having a minor falling out over something trivial. It hadn't been that. She made a decision. She did not call anyone. She did not cry. She sat down at the small desk by the window, and she thought very carefully about what she actually wanted. Not what she felt, not what she was supposed to feel, but what she wanted the outcome of the next 12 hours to look like. She had one advantage that Daniel and Kara did not have. She knew, and they did not know that she knew. She thought about canceling the ceremony. She thought about confronting them both immediately in front of the bridal party. She thought about simply disappearing, calling a car, going to the airport, leaving without a word. She chose none of those things. What she chose was this. She would walk down the aisle. She would stand at the altar. She would let Daniel believe, for the duration of that ceremony, that everything was exactly as he thought it was. And then she would speak. Before she left the room, she did 3 things. She forwarded the entire message thread to her own email. She called her bank and had the joint account, the one they had opened together for wedding expenses, transferred into a sole account in her name only. And she called her older brother, told him exactly what had happened, and told him to be ready to get her out of there after she said what she needed to say. He said, "Are you sure?" She said, "Yes." She put on her veil. The ceremony was beautiful. She would say that, looking back, despite everything, the ceremony itself was exactly what she'd imagined it would be. The barn was lit with warm string lights. The garden roses were perfect. The guests were smiling. Daniel cried when he saw her. She walked toward him, and she thought, he actually cried. She said her vows. She meant every word of them. She'd written them herself months ago, and she'd meant them then, and she was not going to let him take that from her too. When the officiant said, "You may now kiss the bride," she kissed him. She smiled. And then they went to the reception. It was during the toasts. Daniel's best man had just finished. The room was warm and full of laughter. That she stood up. She asked for the microphone. She thanked everyone for coming. She thanked Daniel's family. She thanked her own family. She turned to the table where the bridal party was sitting, and she thanked each of them by name. And then she said, "I also want to take a moment to thank Kara, who has been such a close, constant part of my life for so many years, and who has been so incredibly close to Daniel for the past 8 months specifically." The room was quiet in a way that rooms rarely are. She read 3 of the messages aloud. Then she set the microphone down on the table, gathered the small clutch bag she had kept beside her chair all evening, and walked toward the door where her brother was waiting. She had moved her things out of their apartment that morning. While Daniel was getting ready, she had asked a friend to collect them while the ceremony was taking place. The venue bill, which had always been split in theory, but had, in practice, been paid from the joint account that was now hers, remained in her name. She transferred ownership of the invoice to Daniel. The honeymoon, non-refundable, had been booked under her frequent flyer account. She went on it, alone, and said it was the best vacation she had ever taken. She kept the dog. Kara, as far as she knows, is no longer in contact with Daniel either. The relationship did not survive the exposure. Whatever it was that they had built across those 8 months did not hold up to the light. She has not spoken to either of them since. When I asked her, later, much later, whether she regretted doing it the way she did, she thought about it for a long time. She said, "I regret that it happened. I don't regret a single thing I did after I found out." And honestly, I think she was right. If someone close to you has ever betrayed a trust that felt unbreakable, I want to hear about it. Leave it in the comments below. And if this story is one you needed to hear today, share it with someone who might need it too.